Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening. My name is Tao. I'm from Office Bioequivalence. I'm Senior Advisor. Today, you can see that what I'm going to talk about is a little bit different from other speakers. But I just want to say, just now you heard my colleague talking about how bioequivalence assessor assesses safety for pediatric use for inactive ingredient in the proposed formulation during ANDA assessment for bioequivalence. Next, I'm going to tell you where this assessment occurs and how efficient this assessment could be by using a modernized regulatory assessment tool called GDSA-BE. We give it a beautiful name, just easy to remember. Listen carefully. It's called GDSA-BE, okay? So hopefully you all can remember that after my talk. But here I'd like to pause and make a quick poll in our on-site audience. So how many of you have heard another agency's structure assessment initiative called CASA? Please raise your hand if you do. Okay. How many of you have heard GDSA-BE before today? Okay, none. Oh, maybe one. All right. So actually, it's not surprising. Today is the first day or first time that OGD is officially talking about this great modernized generic tool, generic assessment tool. And I have the greatest honor to do the job today. So please do me a favor. If you could only remember one thing from my talk, that would be OGD is scrapping text-based, decades-long review process for GDSA-BE. This is a modernized generic regulatory assessment for accelerated bioequivalence regulatory process, right? For accelerated review, for efficient review, for streamlined review. So we're changing for good. Okay, now let's see. So why we are initiating this GDSA-BE? Any thoughts? Because we need a modernization, right? For decades long, we have been sort of thinking about what we should change for this text-based review process. We know we need a change, but just recently, we have every day we see these new innovations such as AI, ChatGPT, right? Sora, continue influencing humanity for almost every industry in the outside world. That makes us think and make us cannot stand still with the current text-based review. We just need a change. Thanks to the IT technology advancement, that makes this possible for us. Now we come up with this modernized generic drug assessment called GDSA-BE, and this is really the next generation of generic drug assessment process for bioequivalence. And please remember these 4 words: consistency, standardization, efficiency, and knowledge management. These words are really the model of GDSA-BE. So these are really, highlight the benefits this GDSA-BE tool can provide to the entire generic drug program. And the need for the modernization also comes from the challenges, right? The challenges that we're facing for the current regulatory assessment process. For example, externally, growing complexities with ANDA submission that makes us feel we need a streamlined assessment process in order to successfully meet the GDUFA goal dates. And also the growing expectations from Congress, from the public, from all of you have motivated us to make the change. Like I said before, the current regulatory assessment is not ideal, not perfect, right? We recognize there are a lot of room to improve this process. So the freestyle narrative text-based review just provides a lot of limitations. And for example, knowledge management, it just doesn't give us a very good visibility, right, for any previously completed review. Also, it involves a lot of manual administrative tasks. For example, reviewers need to copy pasting data from the submission. Reviewers need to manually searching databases in FDA data sources, right? So all of these need improvements. And most importantly, we feel during the development of GDSA-BE, we feel we probably also need structured data submission from ANDA applicants, okay? So think about, right, in the future, if we have structured data submission, we can make this interface with GDSA-BE. So GDSA-BE can really achieve very high level of automation, right? And this will really help free our assessors from the manual excessive work and allow them to focus on the areas that really require human intelligence and their professional expertise. So now we have talked about why we made the change. Really, the modernization is a key, right? And actually, modernizing the generic drug program is OGD's top priority for its 5-year strategic plan between 2023 and 2028. So for the process, we'd like to modernize to enhance efficiency and consistency across the entire generic drug program. And we believe that once GDSA-BE is fully developed and implemented in OGD, and we can really enrich the effectiveness and consistency for the regulatory assessment for bioequivalence. And really, this will be a significant step for OGD to make, right, towards achieving this goal, modernizing the generic drug program. And OGD has published 2023 annual report. It is available online. So we have shared a little bit details about the progress we have made to developing this tool in 2023. If you are interested, please download a copy from the internet and take a read. So at this point, I believe everyone probably understand what GDSA is, right? Generic drug structure assessment. So this is really symbolizing the next generation OGD's regulatory assessment tool for for generic drugs. So this is kind of busy slide, but I'd like you to focus on these 4 graphics on the slide. So let's take a look at the middle row first. This illustration really helps you to understand from the old or decades-long text-based disorder form, which is on the left, to move to a more future structured state of the regulatory assessment. And this future state is much more ordered, much more structured, and it has this dynamic interactive capabilities with all the different resources. I'll explain that in a little bit of detail in next slide. So with that thinking, the bottom 2 images will show you an example of GDSA-BE using generic drug regulatory bioequivalence assessment as example, right? The bottom 2 images will let you know the comparison view of regulatory bioequivalence assessment before GDSA-BE, which is the left image, and after GDSA-BE, which is on the right bottom corner. So before GDSA-BE, the bottom left image is a snapshot of our of our regulatory assessment for bioequivalence. You can see all of these rows and columns needs to be manually filled by our assessors. And they'll need to go to the submission and manually retrieve the data and put that in this review template. Okay, and now once we move to the GDSA-BE stage, and this is the interface of GDSA-BE, by the way, and they only need to enter this ANDA number, and then a lot of information from the left image will be auto-populated for them. Okay, think about that. And in this red box, it really highlights the future state of generic drug regulatory assessment. So how efficient, how streamlined it could be once GDSA is fully implemented in OGD. Okay, so now I come to my $1 million slide. So if you could only remember one slide from my talk today, this would be it, okay? So as I said, GDSA has a model, right? The 4 words: efficiency, consistency, standardization, and knowledge management. So on this slide, it really tells you why the features of GDSA-BE can provide generic drug program all of these benefits. So first, data automation analysis. So GDSA is a tool that we could integrate this tool with some assessment tools that we developed in-house. And by using these assessment tools, currently we are able to achieve certain level of automation. For example, we can auto-populating some data from the end of submission to GDSA-BE. We can even auto-analyze some PK data using that tools. And we're visioning, right, in the future, once the structured data submission is in place, we can achieve even more high-level automations. So this really helps cut down the time that reviewers spend in manual administrative tasks like copy-pasting and allow for a higher efficiency for the review process. Second, data mapping and comparison. So remember I mentioned in the previous slide that GDSA-BE is a tool that we could have more interactive capabilities with various data sources, right? These data sources in FDA resource page that we could create a linkage with GDSA-BE. So GDSA-BE can link to these data sources, and previously, assessors really need to go to these data sources one by one, and some of them may be in the different systems. They have to go jump in and jump out of the system to do a manual search of the data that they need to complete their review. But once we link GDSA-BE with these data sources, the assessors really just need to sit in within GDSA-BE, right? Once they opened up GDSA-BE, all of these data sources are available to them. They don't need to go out, go in, different systems to find the data. Just one click away, they can have the data available to them, or even auto-imported from these data sources to GDSA-BE. So think about how efficient that process could be, right? We are saving tremendous amount of time for the reviewer spend searching databases, searching data sources, and we also allow a higher level of standardization and consistency for our review process. And third, we can also link GDSA-BE with various different language libraries. So over the years, right, based on all the years review experiences, we have developed all different types of language libraries. And we can really link GDSA-BE with these language libraries, so we can make sure a consistent deficiency language can be used for similarly situated cases, right? And also we can capture any new unique deficiency language that's used for a unique scientific issue. So in that case, this new deficiency language can be used for the future use, right? So this really helps me it's a great segue. Help me to go down to my last, but not the least, probably the most prominent feature of GDSA-BE, which is knowledge management. Okay, so at this point, I hope you probably get a sense GDSA-BE can capture data, store the data, curate the data, and use that data for future cases, right? So this is really a great knowledge management tool. And also, intelligent bioequivalence review tool, really. So this is a slide I really want everyone to remember in your mind when you walk away from today's presentation. So GDSA-BE is our next generation regulatory assessment for bioequivalence, and it is both an intelligent review tool and a valuable knowledge-management tool for Office of Bioequivalence and OGD. Lastly, I want to share with you a little bit about where we stand today for GDSA-BE. Since 2022, we have launched 3 releases, including the very first software release in December 2022, and there are about 60 applications reviewed in GDSA-BE system now. And I want to emphasize that GDSA-BE is fully implemented in Office Bioequivalence. And with that, it's my challenge question time. GDSA-BE, Generic Drug Structure Assessment Bioequivalence Tool, is A, Generic Drug Bioequivalence Review Tool, B, Bioequivalence Knowledge Management Tool, and C, both. Any takers? C, right? Yeah, it's obvious. And in summary, generic drug bioequivalence assessment is entering a new era, right? You all can see that. We are dumping the old text-based review. We are very excitedly going to this new stage, GDSA-BE. And like said many times, this is not only an assessment tool, but also a knowledge management tool. And with GDSA-BE, we are looking to achieving higher efficiency, higher standardization, and we can empower our assessment to make more consistent and more informed regulatory decision. And so this is a wonderful tool that the entire Office of Bioequivalence and OGD are very excited to embrace. So with that, I end my presentation today, but before I leave the podium, I just want to make another quick poll. By now, how many of you know GDSA-BE? All right, a lot more hands, right? Thank you, and it looks like you learned something new from my talk, and thank you for helping me achieve my mission. And I'm very happy to come back to answer any questions you have in the Q&A. All right, so with that, I'd like to turn it over to my colleague, Andrea and Shebnam, for Bio IND.